Hi everyone, this is Jen Campbell and I'm doing an accessibility evaluation for two documents that I use with my German 1 students, a PowerPoint presentation and a Word document slash PDF file. This PowerPoint is how I guide my students through learning how to and practicing verb conjugation in the present tense for the first time. Based on the guidelines set forth in the online accessibility handbook on pages 6 and 7 regarding PowerPoint, this PowerPoint specifically is relatively accessible. It is easily viewable in the outline view as described in best practices. So in PowerPoint you go to View and then Outline View, so you can see here that my PowerPoint pretty easily goes into Outline View. All of my text appears. I used the PowerPoint provided slide layouts, so I made sure that I had done so in here. And my slides are also in the correct reading order. And I checked that out by clicking in one of these and using the tab function to make sure that it was going in the right order. I did notice that my images later on in the PowerPoint have no alternative text, so I learned how to create that. For a PC, you have to double-click on the image or right-click, and then under Format Picture, you choose this icon, which is Size and Properties, and under Alternative Text, you can type in a description. So here I might write, this is a clip art image of a girl with black hair that has short spikes. This way, students can get a verbal description of the pictures. Whenever I have bullet points, some of them are numbered, some of them are not when they are of equal value. So for instance, up here, so I made sure that that they were bullet points just like in the home screen here, by looking here or by looking here. I have no external links embedded in this PowerPoint, and I also have no tables. In terms of color contrast, everything important is written in black and white, written in black with a white background. There is some yellow for indicating bullet points, and slide design on the outside is yellow. And that there is no audio-visual component. Now let's look at this PowerPoint through the lens of the Universal Design for Learning guidelines. Principle 1 is to provide multiple means of representation by presenting information and content in different ways. According to the examples from Table 8.5 on page 225 of Rice's book, this PowerPoint highlights key elements in text. It activates prior knowledge by reviewing the subject pronouns before teaching verb conjugation, so that's at the very beginning of the PowerPoint. It uses multiple examples, so before I ask them to do it, it gives them some examples of how to conjugate a verb in the present tense, and in doing so, it scaffolds this skill. And this PowerPoint also pairs with a written outline that we're going to look at later that includes room for practice, and it also chunks the information into small pieces. In terms of the second principle, which is to provide multiple means of expressing understanding by differentiating the way learners can express what they know and understand, again using Table 8.5 in Rice's book, this PowerPoint supports students by using multiple ways of interacting with the material, both visual and auditory, I being the auditory if I'm presenting this. So my lesson itself provides multiple means of expressing understanding, but not necessarily this PowerPoint itself. Principle 3 is to provide multiple means of engagement by stimulating interest and motivation for learning. This PowerPoint provides a few, but not many means of engagement, although the lesson surrounding it does. There are, however, authentic and purposeful outcomes, and it encourages active participation and exploration through the use of a discovery text. So the first thing I ask the students to do is go through here and choose all of the conjugated verbs so that they can figure out the verb conjugation endings on their own. It also provides some independence in working through the practice activities before the answers are provided. So at the end, they have to conjugate on their own, and they have to do some speaking activities before I give them the answers. And lastly, I will look at this PowerPoint based on some of Rice's recommendations in regards to differentiating instruction for struggling students as outlined on pages 217 and 218 of her book. Using a PowerPoint to facilitate instruction provides the opportunity for both interacting with the information in a synchronous manner and also being available after the presentation is given in an asynchronous manner by posting it in a learning management system. So I feel like PowerPoint is flexible in this way. And it would also be easy to provide an advanced copy of this PowerPoint to students so that they can preview it before the lesson is given. In general, I feel that this PowerPoint does pretty well in terms of accessibility. I did have to make a few changes according to the online accessibility handbook, but I feel like those students with visual impairment will now be able to access it pretty well. The second document that we're going to look at today is my PDF. This PDF accompanies the PowerPoint that I just created and serves as written notes and includes a discovery text, scaffolding, and guided practice for verb conjugation in the present tense in German. These notes are actually pages 5 and 6 of a larger 8-page Microsoft Office guide that accompanies my first unit of instruction in German 1. It is full of vocabulary, grammar, and special hints for learning German. For purposes of this evaluation, I decided to use just pages 5 and 6 of the document and to evaluate it based on the guidelines set forth in the online accessibility handbook on page 12 for PDFs. But before I convert it to a PDF, I wanted to evaluate those 2 pages based on pages 10 and 11 of the online accessibility handbook. So the headings were formatted properly, and there are no images to which to add alternative text. The lists are bullet points as suggested. Okay, when I get down further here, there are some bullet points. And there are no hyperlinks or math and science descriptions. Now, I had to make a few changes to my tables, okay, which I did not anticipate being a problem. But so when I click on tables here, you can see at the top there are table tools. So under design, I needed to click on header row. And under layout, I needed to choose repeat header rows. And those options were not already done. So I had no idea prior to doing this that such a simple yet important task could provide accessibility. Then, after I evaluated the Microsoft Office document, then I wanted to figure out how to convert it to a PDF so that it is also accessible. And in order to do this, I also do this because sometimes when students don't have Microsoft Office on their computers at home, it does prevent any kind of issues with formatting. So this time I used page 12 of the online accessibility handbook. And in order to convert to PDF, when you save as Adobe PDF, okay, I'm going to select no, sorry, I'm just going to go straight save as. And when I go to this PC, when you change it to PDF, the save as type, then you click under options. I had never paid attention to these options before. You need to make sure that the document structure tags for accessibility and that you create bookmarks using headings. Press OK and then save. So I'm going to replace this one, which I had already saved. And here we have a PDF document that is ready to go and ready to be presented to students ahead of time for taking notes along with that PowerPoint. Now let's look at this Word document converted through the lens of the Universal Design for Learning Guidelines. Principle 1 is to provide multiple means of representation by presenting information and content in different ways. According to the examples from Table 8.5 on page 225 of Rice's book, this document activates prior knowledge to scaffold learning by reviewing the subject pronouns first. That's the very first thing we do. It uses an outline also and a graphic organizer to emphasize key ideas and relationships. And it chunks information into small pieces also. The one thing it does not do is use interactive simulations or give non-examples. Principle 2 is to provide multiple means of expressing understanding by differentiating the way learners can express what they know and understand. Using Table 8.5 again to evaluate this document based on Principle 2, it does not meet any of the elements listed, as students are not expressing understanding by using this document alone. Principle 3 is to provide multiple means of engagement by stimulating interest and motivation for learning. This document provides a few, but not many means of engagement, although the lesson surrounding it does. There are, however, authentic and purposeful outcomes, as it's teaching students how to conjugate verbs, which is at the core of creating sentences in the target language, which is German in this case. And it encourages active participation and exploration through the use of this discovery text here, and also through conjugating their own verb here and practicing some conjugations down here. And in this way, it's providing scaffolding and independence in working through those practice activities. I believe that this document, which is good for guided notes, helps students who have difficulties with reception. According to Rice on page 220, students with such difficulties have trouble copying notes and trouble taking in verbal information when presented orally only. So these guided notes fill that need for those struggling students. In general, both of my documents were relatively accessible and with a few changes can meet the guidelines of the online accessibility handbook. And I learned a few things about how I can make my strategies, my teaching tools more effective for my students with multiple needs. Thanks for listening.